Contact Investigation. Part 4. Identifying Contacts.
Identifying contacts allows healthcare workers to meet people from all around the world.
A compassionate heart for all people of the world is essential.
This training will demonstrate ways to discover contacts within the patient's friends and family. This will be shown through interviewing, listening, and observing.
Interviewing is the most direct way to simply ask a patient who they have shared air with. You may be asking them to remember back 3 to 6 months. This can be challenging. Talking to them about holidays that have occurred during that time period can sometimes spark memories of who they have been around. Focus on the high risk first. That means to ask the patient whom they have been around indoors, in more confined spaces, and for more than 5 minutes sharing air with the patient.
While you are talking to the patient, listen and note names and relations. But do not stop the flow of the conversation to get demographic details. You can always come back to that later and add the information. What's important is to stimulate the memory of activities that involved the patient sharing air with others.
When you speak with the patient, explain high and low risk categories. Using tools such as the concentric circle can help show how high-risk contacts, closer to center, are those with greater concentrations of shared air. Anyone that shared air with an infectious patient for more than 15 minutes and in a small enclosed area would be considered high risk and can be listed closer to the center of the circle. Contacts that have less shared airtime and were contacts to the infectious patient in larger, more open areas can be listed further out on the circle, indicating that they are low-risk contacts. You can divide the circle into 4 areas: home, leisure, work, and school. As you are collecting names from the patient about who they shared air with, remember to note which of the 4 categories they fall under. Some people may fall under multiple areas. For instance, the patient's mom may be a home contact and also a contact at church, leisure.
Not all of your contacts will be named in the interview, but you can listen for clues of where you may find some more. For instance, when the patient talks about daily activities, does the patient mention deliveries, hair appointments, house cleaning, or birthday parties? Maybe they tell you that their grandchild comes over daily after school. Casually ask if the child sometimes invites friends over. And if there is a grandchild, then maybe there are siblings, a mother, a father. All of these associations are potential contacts.
Another way to encounter who has shared air with the patient is through observation. Look for signs of other people living in the home. Such things as toys or boots, cars or clothes, can give ideas about who you should expect the patient to talk about. Make those items a part of the conversation so you can learn more about the patient's daily habits and visitors. This way you will encounter more areas of potentially shared air. If the patient says they do not go anywhere or see anyone, but yet you see takeout foods on the counter, then you could start a conversation about that. The patient may not realize that the greeter at the restaurant and the delivery person that came last week and then stayed to chat for a while are both potential contacts.
Once you get basic info on contacts, you can circle back and see what demographic info you can obtain. When the patient doesn't have the demographic info on their contacts, the patient may be able to refer you to a friend or family member that does. You can also search old medical records, social platforms online, and search engines to get information needed to contact the patients named in your patient interview.
Well, that's it for part 4. Identifying contacts. We learned 3 ways to identify contacts: interviewing, listening for clues, and observing. In the next part you will get to see a role play. The role play will put a lot of what you've learned all together. See you soon. Don't forget to take the assessment at the end of the show.